Hi, thanks for watching Stuff. This show is about stuff in Fairfield, Iowa. You're watching it on either Fairfield Public Access Channel 9 or on the net at www.fairfieldpublicaccess.net. Today I've got with me Michael Halley. Michael, our newest city council member. Michael, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
So last time we talked, we did have a show prior to you swearing in, and you were talking to me about some of the things that had gone on during the election process. Matter of fact, we've just gone through the swearing in. You've been at, what is it? Three council meetings so far. Tell me how things are going.
Well, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on, and being the new guy, there's definitely a steep learning curve, so I'm still pretty green. Not environmental green, but fresh green. So I don't know all the ins and outs, but I've been paying attention. I know it's, the current stuff.
You were at the meetings long before, out in the audience regularly, long before you were sitting on the council. So you had some background. As far as learning curve, what do you?
Well, there's a lot to learn in this kind of position in terms of procedure and the ins and outs of city government, and I really like to know. I like to be able to answer people's questions, and I get a lot of questions when I go out. I'll be at a restaurant, I'll get someone to say, what's going on with the bike lanes or whatnot, and I always try to answer their questions best I can, and then I'll admit, like I'm admitting right now, I don't know everything. I'm new, so then I go and ask somebody who might know, and then I'll pass the information on.
Michael, it's one of the things that I remember from our last time that you were here, where you were saying, look, I may not have an answer right now, but I'll go get one, and it sounds like that's what you're being faced with at the moment.
Yeah, but I know where to get the information, and there are a lot of very knowledgeable council members who've been there longer than me, and even though right now the city is without a city administrator, that's one thing that's going on, is the search for a new one.
Now I remember from our city council meeting on Monday, they have a firm that's assisting in that search.
Yep. It's called the Mercer Group, and we've got a gentleman who lives in Illinois.
Okay.
Not too far away. And they came very highly recommended. They found city administrator for, I'm going to say, Muscatine. No, the guy used to work at Muscatine. I think they said they found a city administrator. Now, see, I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm just going to say a nearby Iowa city, and but not Iowa City, but
a city in the state of Iowa.
Within Iowa. And Ron Adam, who's on the personnel committee, followed up and interviewed both the city officials and the new hire, and they came out with flying colors in terms of everyone was happy.
Oh, fantastic!
The new hire was happy, the city was happy, so they do a good job, and they're going to look, they're going to look nationwide.
To bring somebody in to fill the city administrator position.
Yep. So the gentleman who is representing the company just came to town. He was here Monday and Tuesday.
He picked great weather.
Yeah, luckily he didn't have to go too far, but he met with all the city council members and the mayor, and just to get an idea of what kind of qualities we're looking for in a new city administrator.
How does it affect the city council at the moment, Michael, with not having a city administrator? I know right now the council is going through the budget process for Ways and Means, which is a time-consuming, would be a light word for that.
Yeah.
So how does that affect affecting the city not having a city administrator?
Well, it's just, I think the council members and the mayor and the city clerk and all the employees there at City Hall have to pick up the slack. That normally, the things that the city administrator would normally do, they have to do.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and we just had the census group in, and I think they just had an audit at the City Hall, so they've been really pushed. And it'll be great to get someone on board, but I mean, we're looking still, 3 months before maybe we can even interview.
Well, sure, you've got to go through the recruit process, finding people that might be the right fit.
Yep.
So
then,
it sounds like our city council's got their work cut out for them.
Yes, they do. But like I said, I've been so impressed working with him so far. I've been on various boards, in my adult life, and worked with a lot of professional people, and all the city council members are extremely professional, very knowledgeable. They have that common sense approach, and
It's a nice thing.
yeah, it is. I respect all of them. So they're doing a great job, and yes, we are in beginning the budget process for the fiscal year. See, we have a fiscal year ending end of June, starts July 1st.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that our city's fiscal year is not the same as maybe a calendar year or.
Yeah.
Now, the fiscal year, and I understand this only because FPAC is funded by the city council and the city of Fairfield, but it's July to the end of June, isn't it?
Yes,
And so our next fiscal year starts July 1.
that's right. So we're, into the second half of the fiscal year, looking to the next one, getting the budget for next one. So all the departments, including FPAC, come to the Ways and Means Committee saying, well, this is the budget that we'd like to see for the next year.
Well, and of course, everybody would like to see
More.
all of their, not saying more, but even all of their requirements met.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem is there's not always enough to meet all of the requirements, and
Yeah, especially
that's where the
this year.
wisdom of the Ways and Means Committee comes in.
Yeah, now that's a committee I was not put on, but
Now, what committees are you on right now?
I am on the Public Safety and Transportation Committee,
Okay.
and I can tell you how that's been.
Yeah, please. I'm very interested.
Well, Ron Adam is the new chair,
Okay.
and Darren Hamilton is also on there, which just makes sense because his day job is working on highways.
I was going to
and-
say
and
that
roads.
is almost a natural fit right
Yep,
there.
Yep. So we had a meeting, and the city is borrowing $3.5 million with bonds to do a major street improvement project for the next 2 years.
Now, I can imagine right out there in our Fairfield viewing area that there is a collective cheer
Yeah, they're
going out because
Yeah.
now I'm sure that begs the question, will my road be fixed? And does that affect my road? And I'm sure you're getting a couple questions on that already.
Well, here's the thing: the city is working to make more and more information available on the city website.
Now, what is the city website for Fairfield?
Good question. I have it. I just have it saved in my.
I
in my
would say
bookmarks.
that's what I was hoping you
wondering-
would know because I can click it.
Yeah, exactly. I just click it. I think it's.
I'm pretty sure that even the FPAC website links directly back to the City of
Yes.
Fairfield website. But one of the things I heard is
We'll
they're
get
putting,
that information
Yeah.
for you.
We'll ask that question.
Yes, I'll find out because I did the minutes for our last committee meeting.
And are those now posted there?
Posted them the next day. So well, I can explain a little bit about the process.
Please.
So the committees are more specific. They deal with there's public safety and transportation, ways and means, property committee. Then I'm the chair of the environment and franchise committee,
Okay.
which deals with solid waste disposal and any franchise agreements the city has. And
Kinda like MediaCom or Lisco.
exactly. That was a. All right, you're allowed to do that.
I'm
All right.
allowed to do that one because they also help fund.
Yeah.
They both of them have done a lot of things. But
And maybe-
since you say franchise, I had to
Yes.
jump there.
You know, put a little gleam on his smile in post production.
In post-editing, please, yes.
So the committees look at these specific issues, and there are three members, and there's a chair,
Okay.
3 members of the council, and usually they meet with department heads of whatever the department that
Okay.
naturally would work. So like Public Works does the streets,
And
so
that
Daryl
would
Biscard,
be, he'd
yes.
be part of that, or at
He
least
would
in
come,
attendance.
yes. or Jerry Long is the engineer who does a lot of work, so he's often there.
Right.
And then for the sewer sanitation committee, then obviously the
Water treatment.
yes, the water
Ken.
treatment. Yep, Ken's there. So the committees deal with these issues and find the best solutions, then take that to the council.
As a recommendation.
Yes, a recommendation, there's a discussion, and then a decision made to the council. So that's kind of the process. The committee meetings are open to the public, though if you think the council meetings can tend to be, I don't want to say boring, but let's just say not exciting. Committee meetings can be even less exciting. So unless you're really interested in that issue, there's not usually a big crowd, anxious to come to a committee meeting.
Now, I understand that, they're always posted, what committees are meeting, where they're meeting.
That's by law, yeah.
You'd find that in the Fairfield Ledger.
Or on the city webpage, which we can't remember the
there we go.
exact
It's also out there
URL,
on the web.
We know it's there.
But
Google it.
Yeah.
So the committee that, so if you come to committee meetings, or if you can't, then say the Ledger sends one of their reporters,
Okay.
and they report on it. Or now the minutes are available the next day, usually on the city website.
And that adds a level of transparency.
Transparency.
So people can't say, oh, you guys are doing all this behind closed doors. That's just not right.
And you see some of the decision-making process, because I did the minutes for our last public safety transportation meeting, and I tried to include some of the discussion. So, for example, one street project that won't be included in this $3.5 million is broadening Main Street, or Highway 1, as it comes from the bypass all the way up to Fillmore.
Okay.
That's something that we want to do. Oh, we've just got this
just in.
It's just in. This is really.
Cityoffairfieldiowa.com is the website. Thank you to the production guys, Michael and Jason and Brian, for finding that for us. Well done, guys.
The guys here at FPAC are on top of it. They got their game on.
Now back to where we were, widening Highway 1 from the bypass.
Making it 3 lanes, turning lane and then 2 lanes. So it's something that the city would like to do. It would, improve the traffic. Also slow the speed limit to 35 until just south of the bypass.
I know a lot of people that would like that, because that gradually it hits 35, 45, and then right up onto the, it's like 45, almost jumping to 55 right at the bypass itself.
Yeah, it's a little fast. So actually the speed limit may change, but that project is very expensive. I can't remember the exact figure. I think it was over $2 million just to do that.
Just to widen that.
Yeah. So when you're looking at what the best use of funds, that wasn't. So that was included in the minutes, that it was discussed and then decided.
That one was said, we'll get to that one later at another time.
So you can see a little bit of how I think that was a good decision. I'd like to say that people would agree that, let's spend the money on the streets people live on and streets that are in need of repair. I mean, the whole idea is, let's borrow the money now. It's a good time. Interest rates are low. Contractors are hungry for the work. And the city's in a good position to borrow the money without increasing our debt load beyond any sort of danger zone. It's very comfortable to borrow this right now. And the idea is to get the roads up to standard and then maintain them, which is actually the best use of tax money. When they start to fall apart, that's when they just need complete replacement, and that's the most expensive.
That's an expensive piece of work right there.
Yeah, so if get them up to standard and then maintain. So that's the plan, is a major street repair. You're going to see a lot of, there will be streets that's torn up, but it'll be done in an intelligent way. So let's say you have 4 streets. Let's just say 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, just to name some.
Yeah.
The work will be done on 2nd and 4th,
leaving 3rd and 5th open,
and then switch for the next year.
Oh, good.
Because you got to trust that there are people making good decisions. And that's a smart move, I think.
I think it is.
So it's it's something I always kind of give. I guess I don't know. I just give government in general, but especially local government, the benefit of the doubt usually that people are making intelligent decisions. And so
one of the things that I've always been so impressed with in our local government is the ability for people. The city council does not meet behind closed doors. You even said it yourself. The committee meetings, if you so desire, are open for people to come and speak into.
Yeah.
It's always fun. You can always tell when the government class is coming to an end for Fairfield High School, because, wow, the attendance of the meetings goes right up. But the meetings are open for people to come to.
Yeah.
And especially in this last 3-week period of time, with the Civic Center being such a hot topic. Both the supervisors had the public, those are now being broadcast on FPAC, but those, if you want to be involved in our local government and have your voice heard, it's not hard to get yourself in a position where you can address the council or address a committee or address people that would be able to answer whatever concern you may have.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, public hearings are called whenever there's there's a specific issue to be discussed. So there was a public hearing at the beginning of the month concerning the city putting a vote as to whether or not a portion of the local option sales tax would be used to purchase the convention center facility. And it took about an hour, I'd say, to hear everyone who was for or against. And actually, the truth is, even the people who weren't necessarily in support of the city doing this still wanted to vote, because that was the actual question of the night.
No, do you want to vote or not?
Do you want to vote or not? And so I think one person of maybe the 12 that spoke said, no, I don't want to vote. So the city, the council unanimously voted to have a vote.
Well, I think that makes sense because, out of the population of Fairfield, how many of people were actually there versus how many people wanted to, it's one of the really neat things about the country in which we live is the ability that we have the right and the responsibility to do just that.
Yeah.
Be a part of our community.
Yeah, it's a community decision. And actually, I think if you want to get technical about it, when the voters put in the 10-year renewal for the local option sales tax, the breakdown was 50% of the funds annually go to roads or street repair, 25 for the sewer, because that needs to be brought up, and the other 25 in a community betterment category, which is pretty vague.
It is.
And if I'm not mistaken, technically, the council can choose how to spend those funds. So technically, on a legal standpoint, the council could say, we're going to buy the convention center facility, but just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. That's a decent size earmark that's reallocating funds to a specific purpose.
A very, that won't change necessarily anything anybody would have paid out. Those are the funds in the local option sales tax that would have been there.
Yeah.
And the city has the authority to allocate in their community betterment.
Which is a vague term, but that's how it was put in. So it was more just, again, common sense.
Okay.
This is tax money. Everyone who buys anything within town, 1 cent of their dollar is collected for this purpose, for the local option sales tax. That's what it is, a penny on the dollar.
So if I'm from here in town, a penny. If I visit here from out of town and spend, it's still a penny on that dollar.
And the whole visitors aspect is why it makes sense to have attractions like the Civic Center to bring more people in and actually build that tax, which has gone up almost 40% since 2000.
Okay.
So it's growing, and yet the population hasn't gone up that much. So we are bringing in people. We are,
somebody's spending. If we're not increasing people and the size of the overall pie is increasing, something has to be increasing.
Yeah, something has to be increasing. So visitors is part of that growth. So from an economic development standpoint, it made sense to consider this. But the great thing is, this is a democracy. Come May 4th, it's not the city council, the mayor, or anybody else who's going to make this decision. It's the voters.
It's the people.
And I think that was the best decision, and I stand behind it. And that way, everyone has their voice, and we can settle it.
That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. So that's where that is.
Now, I don't want to let time get away from us. I think we've got another 15. But one of the things that you and I had talked about on the way in here was a grant.
Yes.
And I want to make sure we hit that before we lose track of too many other things, because this is always fun.
Yeah, it is. Well, I remember when I came in here, before I was even sworn in, I said one of the things I was excited to do was work on energy efficiency projects.
Yes.
Specifically, start with the city and save money, and yet, little did I know, my predecessor, the 4th Ward representative before me, Martha Norbeck, had actually already got the ball rolling on that. So right around the time I was sworn in, we had gotten news that the Office of Energy Independence, stationed in Des Moines, a state office, had received a significant portion of money, I'm not sure the exact figure, of federal stimulus money, specifically for work in energy efficiency and renewable energy. That's the name,
Wow.
Office of Energy Independence. This whole idea of weaning our need for foreign oil and foreign
Okay.
energy sources, and one of the big parts of that is becoming more efficient with our energy use, and then another part is finding alternative sources of energy. So renewable energy, you can count wind or solar or biofuels or
So
whatever.
anything from, at the low end would be solar panels or, you see the wind towers, and I know there was a study being done on those, and
Yeah, so anything like that was eligible for grants. So they had a lot of grant applications, but they liked the one from Fairfield, and what it entailed was it started with Alliant Energy, who is our utility provider here,
yeah.
did an audit of all the city-owned buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So that includes City Hall and the water treatment plant
Okay.
and
Does that include Park and Rec?
sewer, Park and Rec, which is the indoor pool.
Yeah, the old Roosevelt School.
In the Roosevelt Center, and the fire department, and you can look the rest up online. But
Yeah.
but there, I think, were 8 total, and found really no nonsense, common sense, easy ways to reduce energy use, and most of it involves changing out light fixtures or putting in a programmable thermostat.
Really?
I mean, simple things. They call that off-the-shelf technology.
Well, yeah, things that are already there, and I actually installed the Honeywell thermostats in my home, and
It's easy.
it's not real hard.
No, it isn't. So basic stuff like that. Some of it was a little bit more involved, but that was the bulk of it.
So what kind of savings will, not to minimize it, but doing some of these fairly easy to do type of things, be it changing out the light bulbs and the ballasts that aren't efficient.
Aren't the most efficient, yeah. Basically, we're looking at about 30%. The goal was 40,
Wow.
but 30 just with this stuff. So the total project cost was about $480,000. That includes engineering fees, and that was kind of a rounded up figure just to make
Yeah.
sure we could do it all. So the city applied for a grant, and they wanted a 2-to-1 ratio where the city would put in $2 for every $1 grant money.
Okay.
So we ended up getting awarded $162,000, which is not chump change.
No,
It's a good, healthy grant, which is basically a third of it.
Yeah.
And the city agreed to put in the other 2/3. And then Alliant said, well, I don't know what they said, but they liked what we were doing, and they committed
Mm-hmm.
to $118,000 in rebates for the work we're doing. So when you add the 162 grant and the 118 rebates,
Yeah.
it's about, not quite, but maybe about half.
Well, and if you cut, I can't say that I'm knowledgeable as to what the city might spend in a year on
Yeah, you don't want to know.
energy,
It's a lot.
but a 30% savings, I can imagine the project would pay for itself over time.
Yeah, it was basically maybe a 10-year payback, but with the grant and the rebates, it cuts it to about 5-year payback.
Wow.
And from there on, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of your tax money saved that otherwise would have gone to utility
To
bills.
Alliant bills and to,
Yeah.
wow.
So it's big, and yet it just makes so much sense. So as the new chair of the Environment and Franchise Committee, I'm working to
Mhm.
get this whole thing going. We're going to get the grant such worked out in the next month or two, and we should start the projects within the next 3 months.
That's fantastic.
We've got till 2012 to spend the money. The grant has a time frame.
So the grant, if you haven't used it by the end of that time, it expires and
Yeah.
they take the money back.
Yeah, well, they don't give it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't write against it, but
But so the city is borrowing $500,000 because that's the cost of the whole project, because we will do the work and then get paid back as the work is completed. And that may become a revolving kind of fund where the savings then go into new projects. We could put up
Wow.
potentially, a medium-sized or small wind tower out at the water treatment plant, or there
yeah,
are all these different
kinds of
options.
things where we could.
There's more options. So this is just really the beginning, but it's they call it the low-hanging fruit. It's the easiest.
The stuff you can do that has an impact
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah, it's like I said, off the shelf. It's easy. change light bulb fixtures, put in programmable thermostats. It's not rocket science.
It's funny, I remember, the city it was council meeting, they were talking about it just prior to the holiday season. They were talking about the lights on the square.
Oh, yeah?
And just, wow, there's a cost. Everybody loves the lights on the square. But there's a cost involved in storing them, maintaining them, and turning them on. And most people don't fathom that at all. It's just, wow, they're pretty. That's part of the charm of Fairfield in the winter. But the cost incurred in turning them on. And wow, anything you could do to save on the energy bill across, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's the next project to look at is LED, which is the high efficiency lights that it's kind of the new generation of lights. LED Christmas lights.
I know didn't we just have a project, I want to say within the last year, where we did some of the stoplights.
The stoplights in town are all LED, and that was a project with Alliant where the energy savings pay for the upgrade. It's pretty smart. We're using considerably less energy. I'm going to say maybe a quarter. I'm not quite sure exact, but it's on actually the LED study. If you go to the city webpage, which is cityoffairfield.iowa.com. Yes.
There we go. Thanks, guys.
You can look it up. It's in there somewhere. LED light study, and it'll show how much we were spending. Now we switched to these LEDs, how much we are, and the cost of the upgrade is covered in the savings. So we didn't pay a dime. And once the cost is recovered, then
that's savings.
The savings is ours to keep. So it's projects like that. The next step in my mind is taking it from public to citywide and putting encouraging homeowners and businesses and everyone else to kind of get on board this energy efficiency. I mean, it's amazing how easy it is.
Well, it's one of the things that if you can show people how, yes, today you may have an outlay to replace the light bulbs, but if you do them one at a time as they go out, as they tend to do, your savings over time can accumulate.
Yeah. Well, I just had a home energy audit done on my new house just down the street. So I've got a whole list of upgrades, and I don't have a lot of disposable income right now, so I'm just going to do them one at a time. But the payback and some of this stuff is only a year or two.
That's amazing. I won't give out names. A gentleman who used to be involved on the board at FPAC, who's also a good friend, and he has one of those little cameras, the FLIR ones.
Is it thermal?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great.
And you just look at something and then you hold it and you put it at a door and you go, wow, I'm losing that much heat right there. That's just incredible.
Yeah, that's what this home energy audit. Am I allowed to plug the company or?
I seem to have done it once already. So if you happen to mention the name, we're probably in good shape.
I just happened to mention that it was Ideal Energy. It was a local company, and they did a great job and used the thermal imaging, and they did a blower door to show it pressurizes the house and the leaks, exaggerates the leaks.
Oh, now that's neat.
It was amazing. So the first step was just some foam sealant, some caulking to seal up these leaks. That's step one, and then on from there.
Wow.
But it's amazing.
Well, we've got about a minute and a half left here, Michael. Is there anything, it's kind of a neat platform. It's, you have viewership in Fairfield and to some degree outside of Fairfield now. With
the stream.
It was funny, I had a phone call from somebody that said they were watching the school board in California.
Really?
And somebody said, yeah, they have too much time on their hands.
I think they must.
But just the fact that they could watch it on the web. Anything you'd like to say out to the community before we wrap up?
Go to the cityoffairfield, Iowa.com, and you can go to the city council members, and you can actually click email Michael if you have any questions or comments, criticisms. Criticisms, just send those to the mayor, but anything else, send to me. That's one of the things I ran on was open communication, two-way communication, transparency. The city's already working in the transparency. I just want everyone to know, even if I'm not your representative for Ward 4, that I'm available.
You'll still answer a question.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't know everything, but I'll find out. I'll ask somebody else. So go there and you can email me. And I gotta say this again.
All right.
Hi, Mom.
There you go.
That's my trademark.
That's a great thing.
You know, my mom, she's a great mom, and she deserves, you know, a shout out.
That's a good thing. It's kind of like it's when the football player does the touchdown.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, yeah.
Michael, thanks for being here with us today.
It's my pleasure.
You've been watching Stuff here on FPAC Channel 9, Fairfield, Iowa. I'm Scott Holderbaum, the station manager. And our guest tonight was Michael Halley from our City Council. Thanks much and have a great day.